So
Your brother went to JC?
my brother and sister were JC.
Well, your siblings going to be very sad to hear JC doesn't.
They are no longer.
A day after a handful of Oaks were represented in the CCL Prospect game, we're back to CCL Summer Baseball at George Sparky Anderson Field. The Oaks and the Saints completing a two-game series that was held to 3 days because of a hiatus where these two teams played in the CCL Prospect game yesterday, but they will complete the second and final game of this weekday series today right here at George Sparky Anderson Field. Welcome back, everybody, to some lovely summer weather for baseball. Low 80s, wind blowing out to right, and boy, are we excited for today's matchup. To my right, Jordan Brenner. To my left, our producer, Sean McKinnon. My name is Jonathan Rifkin. Delighted to be with you on a lovely Thursday evening for some CCL baseball. The Oaks are coming into today with 14 wins and 11 losses in the CCL. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, well, I just checked the standings on the CCL website and it says the Oaks are 13-11. Well, we can confirm 100% that the Oaks do indeed have 14 league wins. They are a game up on the Slow Blues and one game back, or a half game back, I should say, of the Riptide. We talked to Commissioner Pat Burns yesterday. He's in the process of changing that. So do not worry. It does say the Oaks and the Blues are tied for that fourth and final playoff spot. Indeed, that is not the case. The Oaks do have 14 wins and 11 losses in the CCL. The Blues have 13 wins and 11 losses. So the Oaks are technically a half game up on the Slow Blues. The Oaks do come in, though, at 19-13 overall and do sit in that fourth and final spot in the playoff picture. For the Arroyo Seco Saints, a bit of a different story. They're 9-20 in the CCL, 11-22 overall. They've been struggling. They lost a tough one on Tuesday against these Oaks at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field on Tuesday. The Oaks won 7-5. Jordan, as we bring you in, the Saints actually got off to a better start. They were up 2-0 early and then went up 4-1. And then all of a sudden, their offense was stifled. And the Oaks offense themselves exploded. Of course, Brandon Lewis had a triple, a home run, and a double. He was a single off the cycle. But other than him, this team put up some pretty big numbers towards the middle part of that game, and it shifted the momentum. Does that momentum carry on to today, and what's such a crucial game for this Conejo Oaks team?
Well, you'd certainly like to hope so. The Oaks had, most of the Oaks had an off day yesterday. Some of the Oaks were fortunate enough to attend the prospect game at MLB Urban Youth Academy. Either way, it was a much-needed day for everybody on this team, for those who got the day off or for those who were surrounded by major figures in the game of baseball. Last game, the key to that game was Aiden Dolan, and he didn't have his best start by any means, but what he was able to do was hold on just long enough to hand it to Simonsgard, to hand it to Eric Ma, and give the offense enough time to come back in that ball game. That was a major win. This is an even bigger game today to continue that momentum going forward, especially when the Oaks have a brutal, brutal weekend coming up. Tomorrow they play at San Luis Obispo, and then 2 games against the Santa Barbara Foresters. You never know how you're going to fare in games like those. Today is a game that you can control. If you play your best baseball, you should feel confident that you're going to win this ball game.
If the Oaks win today and tomorrow, barring some sort of crazy outcome for the Slow Blues, the Blues will be eliminated and the Oaks will have locked in a playoff spot. Though the 2nd through 4 seeds are still up for grabs between 4 teams, and it's only a game difference between the 2 spot and the 5 spot right now. That's how crazy and down to the wire this season is going to go. The Oaks do have 3 CCL games tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday after today. A 2-day hiatus next week when they have 2 home games against interleague teams, and they'll cap off the season next Friday at home against Healdsburg, a game that could give the Oaks the 2nd seed or the 4th seed. You never know. That's how important each and every final of these 5 CCL games are going to be for this Conejo Oaks squad. It is going to be a fun day of baseball. The Saints actually beat the Oaks the first time these two teams matched up back on June 18th. The Saints won 5-4. The Oaks were up 4-1. The Saints exploded in the second half of that game. But today it's a different story. The Oaks have taken 2 games against the Saints thereafter, and this being the 4th and final matchup of the season. If the Saints can find a way to stick with this team and win, not only does that put the Oaks in a spot where they could be out of the playoffs, a Saints team that is looking just to stay competitive, though they are eliminated from the playoffs, that could give them some momentum going to the last week of their season as well.
Yeah, let's look at Charles Peacock's number. He's the starter for the Arroyo Seco Saints. He's had himself a little bit of an up and down type of season, 15 2/3 innings pitched. His ERA is above 6, but here's a guy who has proven the ability to throw a quality start. And for a Saints team that is, eliminated from the playoffs, they still have a lot to play for, like you talked about, Jonathan. All these guys, they're trying to prove themselves to scouts. They're trying to make a profession in the game of baseball. The ability to, go out there, go 3 for 4, hit a couple home runs, that goes a long way for scouts, and it goes a long way to play spoiler for this Oaks team.
Yeah, I think right now the bottom of the league is out to get the teams at the top, regardless of whether or not they can make the playoffs themselves or not. But as the coaches come and have a conversation with our home plate umpires here, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, starting lineups and the first pitch. You're watching Oaks versus Saints on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. We will be right back. Back here at George Sparky Anderson Field, the Oaks and the Saints duking it out for the fourth and final time on the baseball diamond this season. Let's get you the starting lineup. First for the Saints, as I mentioned earlier, the Saints a little bit of a struggle this season in their second season in the CCL at 11-22, 9-20 in CCL play. Batting first from UC Davis and playing third base is Cameron Briggs. Behind him, Angelo Armenta at shortstop from San Diego State. Cooper Williams is playing first base in the third spot from New Mexico State. The cleanup man from Cal Poly Pomona, and in right field, Brian McKenzie. Mitch Kerner's in the fifth spot, catching from Emory. Tristan Peterson's DHing in the sixth spot from New Mexico State. Gabriel Chavez from Cal State San Bernardino is playing second base in the seventh spot. Behind him, Dalton Ney, the phenomenal outfielder, playing center field in today's game from Lee University in Tennessee. And to round out the Saints order, Jacob Jenkins in the outfield from Mid-American Nazarene. He is in the ninth spot. On the mound is Charles Peacock from Galveston College. We'll give you more on him when he takes the mound in the home half of the first. But first, the Conejo Oaks field. Michael Spears from Ole Miss in right. In center, Andrew Lucas. And in left, Chase Cockrell. Jordan McFarland from Arkansas is at first. Tanner Wright from Cal Lutheran occupies second. Sam Shaken, the Valparaiso Crusaders at short. Brandon Lewis, UC Irvine product at third. And behind the dish for the Oaks, Bryce Vitt headed to Sonoma State by way of Pierce Junior College. On the mound for the Oaks, getting his second start, is Jerry Ramirez from Glendale. On the season for Jerry Ramirez, as I mentioned, this is only his second start, but he has 13 appearances. He has a 1-0 record, a 5.4 ERA in 23 2/3 innings pitched. That's good for third on the team. Interesting matchup uniform-wise, as the first pitch comes in a strike on the inside corner. 5:08 is our first pitch time. 79 degrees, sunny skies, and wind blowing out to right center field as usual. Ramirez toes the rubber. Look for that curveball today here, because that's a pitch he has been working on, and it's become very, very strong as he calls time. By the way, the Oaks are in their navy blues today. White letters on the front, outlined by baby blue, and white numbers on the back, the 0-1. Curveball right in there for strike number 2 at 66. The Oaks have white pants. Some have a blue stripe on the side, some don't. The Saints are also in their navy blues, which is very interesting. Normally teams don't clash, but they're wearing gray pants and gold numbers on the back, outlined in white, and gold letters on the front with a giant S on the front. The 0-2, a changeup, swung and missed. Strike 3, and Cameron Briggs, to lead off the game, strikes out on 3 beautiful pitches by Ramirez for out number 1.
It's a great way for Jerry Ramirez to start this ball game off. If Jerry has confidence on the mound and his stuff is moving, he's one of the best pitchers on this team, and I will stand by that even despite his numbers, which have been a little bit lackluster so far this year.
Angelo Armenta grounds one on the first pitch over to second. Right to McFarland for out number 2. How about that? 4 pitches and 2 outs. An efficient start here for Jerry Ramirez. Angelo Armenta on Tuesday, coming into this series, was only batting .111. And then he exploded. He had a home run in the second for his first of the season. That resulted in 2 RBIs. He had a single in the third with another RBI. And then he walked twice. He was 2 for 3 in that game. That was his best game of the season. First pitch misses outside for ball 1 to Cooper Williams from New Mexico State. And how about this, Jordan? The Conejo Oaks in a shift. Lewis playing shortstop, Shaken at second. Tanner Wright in between first and second in right field. The 1-0 is a strike at the knees to even the count. We've only seen the shift happen once this season so far, and I guess the scouting report for Cooper Williams spoke to Solis, and now this team putting on the shift. 1-1 offering. Curveball missing outside for ball 2.
I like it. I think it's smart. Yeah, I mean, we've seen Cooper Williams quite a bit this season. The Oaks know what they're doing when they're employing the shift.
.269 batting average. Skies 1 to center. Andrew Lucas, though, corrals it just short of the warning track for out number 3. Jerry Ramirez gets the job done. Forces the Saints to go 1-2-3. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on base. Top of the first is come and gone. On the other side of the break, we'll give you the Oaks starting 9 and the field for the Saints on the other side of this break on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Tanner Wright leads off for the Oaks here in the bottom of the first inning with no score. Behind him, Brandon Lewis, Jordan McFarland in the 3 spot, and Chase Cockrell cleaning up for the Oaks. Sam Shakin in the 5th spot, Bart West behind him. Michael Spears in the 7th spot, Andrew Lucas in the 8th spot. And in the 9th spot is Bryce Vitt. On the mound here for the Saints is Charles Peacock as he toes the rubber and offers the first pitch to Tanner Wright upstairs for ball 1.
Good to see Tanner Wright back in the lineup, Jonathan. He was a little bit nicked up this past week. We saw a lot of Will Pickett's. Pickett's did a great job in his place, but always nice to have the best contact hitter on the team back in the lineup.
The 1-0 misses inside. 2-0 here on an 89-mile-an-hour fastball from Peacock. He's 0-1 on the season. 15 2/3 innings under his belt. 6.32 ERA, 19 walks, and only 21 strikeouts. Here comes the 2-0. Wright takes it low for ball 3. Tanner Wright, the only Division III product in the Oaks starting 9, but he plays like he competes at the Division I level, batting .321 this season. And how about this? In 87 plate appearances, he's only struck out 7 times. That's efficiency. The 3-0. A fastball at the knees for strike 1.
You're not going to want to walk Tanner Wright to start the game off because, as we've talked about at great length, the wrecking ball crew, Lewis, McFarland, Cockrell, right on after.
The Galveston product, I should say, deals a fastball that's popped up out of play to bring the count to full now. So from 3-0, a 3-2 here to Tanner Wright. Go ahead, Jordan.
I was just going to say Tanner Wright is the perfect leadoff hitter for this team. Really for any team. You know, he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's going to see so many pitches, and he's going to be able to relay that information back to the dugout, tell people what he's been seeing, and that's infinitely valuable for a team that usually struggles in the first inning.
Fastball low for ball 4, and Tanner Wright draws a walk, and he's on first base for the Oaks here to lead things off in their half of the first inning. He does have some speed, though he doesn't steal as often as possible. Sometimes hitting runs, but he's only 6 for 8 on the season. Right over at first with a walk, and that brings up Brandon Lewis. He had 3 hits in the prospect game yesterday and went 3 for 4, and that one out was a very hard out. The first pitch, one hopper into center field. Good for a single. Wright is going to leg it out over to third. The throw will not come in. And the Oaks get their first 2 batters on by way of a walk and a single. Runners at the corners, nobody out. And by the way, the field for the Saints looks as follows. Brennan McKenzie's in right, Jacob Jenkins in center, and Dalton A in left. Cooper Williams at first, Gabe Chavez at second, Angelo Armenta at short, Cameron Briggs at third, and Mitch Kerner behind the dish.
Pretty good start so far, huh, Jonathan?
Can't complain, that's for sure. Now there can Jordan McFarland, who steps in. He had a great prospect game yesterday. He had some great catches at first base and a couple of singles as well as he grounds one into right field. Coming in and scoring is Tanner Wright. Lewis thought about going to third, but McKenzie quickly puts that ball into the infield, and the Oaks take an early 1-0 lead. No outs, runners on first and second base.
You know, coming into this game, I thought there might be a little bit of pressure on the Oaks, considering the standings are just so close. Well, guess what? This is the way to beat pressure, to come out and immediately start swinging the bats. Don't even give yourself time to think about how big this game is. Just jump on top. That's exactly what Caneo has done so far.
Now Chase Cockrell stepping in. He's really been struggling as of late, but he broke out yesterday. He had a pair of hits in the CCL prospect game that I think put him out of his slump. Fastball in the inside corner, though, at 92 for strike 1.
Yeah, it's just about time where he really breaks out with one of those patented Chase Cockrell 4-for-4 games.
Still batting .342. Peacock checks second. Lewis does have some speed as he dances out there. The 0-1, though, drops in the dirt. Kerner blocks it. Runners stay at their respective bases. 1 ball, 1 strike here to the former Golden Spike semifinalist. Had a great showcase yesterday, both in right field and at shortstop when they had the infield and outfield showcases, and his bat looks very good as well.
Yeah, he looked really good in the field, and that's big for Chase.
Peacock checks second once again, the 1-1 in. Foul tip off of the catcher's mask. 1 ball and 2 strikes here to Chase Cockrell. Over at second base is Brandon Lewis, and we have it on good standing that with a 1 week left in the season, Brandon Lewis is currently leading the league in terms of MVP
consideration.
Yeah, that's probably the word I was looking for. Yeah, yesterday we were told that Brandon Lewis is doing something that very few players have done. He's leading in almost every offensive category in the league. The 1-2 upstairs, ball 2 here to Chase Cockrell. That one, though, at 93.
Yeah, Peacock's been hovering around 91, so he's sitting there, and clearly he's got reach back 93. That's some electric stuff right there.
Some speed on the base paths, though. Some bigger guys for the Oaks. McFarland at first, Lewis at second. Peacock checks Lewis a couple times, toes the rubber, rocks and fires the 2-2. Opposite field goes Cockrell, but foul, and the count remains the same. How about this? Yesterday in the 5th inning, against Jacob Parker from the Orange County Riptide, not only did the CCL Americans, which was the team that the Oaks were representing, hit around in that inning before there was one out recorded on the board, every Oaks batter in that inning got on base. That's pretty incredible.
It was a fun inning to watch yesterday.
Parker ended up giving up 6 runs before he was pulled. But it was a really fun inning to watch. I mean, you talk about one team composed of basically Santa Barbara Foresters and Caneo Oaks. The Barons were represented with 3 of their players as well, but the rest of the league was in the other dugout. The 2-2. Curveball almost hits him, but just misses that left hip, brings the count full.
It felt almost like we were watching the Golden State Warriors at that game. With how outmatched the other team was.
It was 5 teams in one dugout, the Oaks and the Foresters and the Barons in the other one, and it was just an onslaught from the beginning. The Oaks and the Foresters together, just hard to compete by the rest of the league. Healdsburg had some great representation, though, and of course Daniel Zhang, payoff pitch, foul it off once again here for Cockrell. Daniel Zhang from Notre Dame, who plays for the Catch. That guy was one of the most impressive guys yesterday, both during the showcases and also during the game. He may get some consideration for MVP. He is a phenom to watch.
He's an Oaks killer. All of his home runs have come against the Oaks.
He's still batting up in the high 300s for the Catch. Peacock fighting against Cockrell. Here comes the payoff pitch. Half-hearted swing goes back to the mound. Peacock deals it over to first for out number 1, but advancing on the play in a sacrifice-like ordeal. McFarland to second and Lewis to third. One out now.
Cockrell's not going to like that swing, but ultimately it was a pretty good at-bat, a productive at-bat that the Oaks will certainly appreciate now with 2 runners in scoring position. But to be honest, that's an at-bat Chase Cockrell wouldn't have had about a week ago. He would have been, many of those foul balls that he hit to the right side would have been big swings and misses. So I feel like we're hyper-analyzing him a bit, but that's what you do when you have a guy as talented as Chase Cockrell.
Sam Shaken, one of the other Oaks prospects, I should say, steps in and fouls that one back for strike 1. Shaken having a down year in his Oaks return. Only batting in the mid-200s to be exact. Get you his number here in just a moment. 261. He is tied for first on the team in triples with 2, but compared to his 385 batting, or 285, excuse me, batting average last season, his number's a little bit down. Here comes the 0-1. Curveball upstairs for ball 1. One's across the board now here to Shake. 1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 away. Of course, his father, John, his uncle, Bill, always a pleasure when we interact with them. His father, John, was in attendance yesterday at the prospect game, and Jeffrey Francis was there as well. His son, Dylan, had a great inning in the 4th inning. Ended up having 1 walk and a hit, but gave up no runs and had a great strikeout to start off his inning as well. We talked to Jeffrey for a while. Wonderful conversation. Great family. The 1-1. Half-hearted swing. Did he go around? They say he did. Strike 2 now to Sam Shaken. Learned a lot of stuff about the Francis family. All positive, of course. And they are just very well represented in the greater Thousand Oaks area. 1 around, 2 on. 1 away here. Sam Shaken battling against Peacock. Peacock trying to stifle the rest of this Oaks offense. The 1-2. Swung and missed. Strike 3 on a 92 mile an hour. And Shaken goes down for out number 2. Good sequence that right there from Peacock. He kept his stuff off balance in terms of he went fastball, curveball, curveball, fastball, and Shaken just seemed like a step off in that at-bat.
Yeah, Shaken's going to be sick to his stomach there with 1 out and a runner on third base. That is a place where you have to drive in the runner. You can't strike out there, and Shaken will be the first person to tell you that.
Bart West steps in. He had his first home run of the game on Tuesday against the Saints. Swings and misses on a 74-mile-an-hour off-speeder for strike one. And that home run was almost a check swing. He didn't even finish his swing, and it was just a bomb over the center field fence over at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. Looking for more of that here. The 0-1. Way outside on the wild pitch. Lewis will come in and score, and the Oaks take a 2-0 lead over to third, Jordan McFarland.
That's one way to score after Shaken struck out. Brandon Lewis always on top of everything. As soon as that ball got by Kerner, he was hustling home. And a big, big run here to make it 2-0.
Bart batting .293 on the season. Tied for first on the team in walks with 13. Also leads the team in strikeouts with 29. He does have 14 RBIs, though, as well. Runner on third, 2 around, 2 away, the 1-1. Swing and a miss, strike two. Took something off there. We've seen fastballs in the low 90s. That one at 88. Changing up speed and movement on the fastball is really key to be a successful pitcher, especially in such an offensive-heavy league. And right there, Peacock pulled out all the stops. We'll see what he does here. Rocks and fires the 1-2. In the dirt. Good backhand by Kerner, though, to even the count. Hope everybody's enjoying their Thursday. No matter how you're watching or where you're watching, Jordan, Sean, and I appreciate you making Oaks baseball a part of your Thursday plans. Final home game for the Oaks until Tuesday. 3-game road trip starting tomorrow. 2 interleague games on Tuesday and Wednesday, and the final game on Friday next week. The 2-2. Outside, good take from West. Brings the count full now. He thought about going, very wisely held up. He saw it was a slow pitch. He would have been out in front of it anyways. And he got the call in his favor.
Bart West does about as good a job as anybody checking his swing, and that comes with strong, quick hands, which he certainly has.
Payoff pitch. Low ball 4. Peacock thought he had a strikeout. He started to walk to the dugout. West strode over to first, and that's the second walk of the inning. And that extends it now for Michael Spears. Runners at the corners, and actually 2 outs, my mistake. West now leading the team in walks. He has 13 on the season over at first. Takes a step and a half lead off. Spears in the right-handed batter's box now from Ole Miss. Peacock offers the first pitch, a curveball at the knees for strike one.
So much depth to this Oaks lineup. I mean, we're at 7, but Michael Spears is the guy who's led off. Andrew Lucas on deck. He's been productive.
Spears drills one into right field. Coming in and scoring is McFarland. And the Oaks keep on manufacturing runs even with 2 outs. It's 3-0 on the RBI single by Michael Spears.
They just keep grinding, Jonathan. Every time they go to the plate, it seems today, they're giving it their all. They're fighting out at-bats, and they're just putting the ball in play, and that's all you can ask for if you're Coach Solis. Another great hit for Michael Spears, a clutch 2-out knock.
Spears' bat has really been heating up lately, and the Oaks have needed it. Prior to that bat, he was batting .226, up in the 230s now. That was his 5th RBI of the season. My mistake, I said Bart West had his 12th walk. He actually had his 14th walk. Back 2 batters ago, and now for a conversation on the mound. Andrew Lucas, who was up until the last minute the youngest prospect to be named to the CCL prospect game, steps in. He, again, up until the last minute was Jack Noble from the Riptide, who's only 4 months younger than Andrew Lucas. Ended up getting a replacement bid. He's going to the University of Oregon in the fall. But Lucas going to CSUN. He was the Ventura County High School Player of the Year. He digs in here as the first offering from Peacock is in. Low for ball 1. Spears on the season. or excuse me, Lucas on the season, my mistake, batting .273, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, 10 walks, and 23 strikeouts. Waving that bat high over his right shoulder. Peacock comes set and deals one in the dirt for ball 2. 3 runs, 3 hits for the Oaks here in the inning. Ramirez had a great top of the first. A top of the first that feels like ages ago. The Oaks are 1 batter away from batting around. Ramirez retired the Saints 1-2-3 in the away half of the first inning. 2-0 count here. Spears digs back in, or Lucas digs back in. Spears is on first base. Peacock checks West at second and offers the 2-0. A fastball fouled back out of play. Strike number 1 now on the board.
That was a great swing from Lucas. He was right on that heater. Such a beautiful swing. Clears his hips so well. And that's where all that power comes from.
He had a hit yesterday in the prospect game. Played center field the entire day. Looked really good during the showcase as well. Peacock deals the 2-1. Slapped back out of play once again to even the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes here to Lucas. But yesterday, after his batting practice performance showcase, if you will, for Andrew Lucas, he came back to the CCL American dugout, which was on the right side towards the first baseline of the MLB Urban Youth Academy. And Dave Solis, Oaks head coach, came up to him and said, "You did a great job, and you have 4 more years to show all these scouts what you got." 2-2 half-hearted swing. Did he go around? Indeed he did. Strike 3. And the first inning is over. 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, but 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors, and a pair stranded on base. 1 inning has come and gone. The Oaks take a 3-0 lead at the top of the second, and the 4, 5, and 6 batters do it for the Saints after this on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Back here at George Sparky Anderson Field on a lovely Thursday. Oaks up 3-0. Top of the second, Brendan McKenzie, Mitch Kerner, and Tristan Peterson all due up. Jerry Ramirez deals a strike to Brendan McKenzie to begin the second inning. No John Thomas in the lineup for the Saints. He gets the day off after reaching base 3 times against the Oaks on Tuesday and performing in the prospect game yesterday, the 0-1. This is low for ball 1 from Ramirez. So Brendan McKenzie gets the call in the cleanup spot, not the normal cleanup hitter for the Saints team, but he can get the job done. As Ramirez quickly deals the 1-1. Curveball in there beautifully. From 12-6 on the clock. 1 ball and 2 strikes. But on the season so far for Brendan McKenzie, he's batting .233. His numbers are a little bit down. He does have a home run. And he leads the team with 13 RBIs. The 1-2 Swan and miss on a pitch in the dirt. It'll toss it over to McFarland for the 2-3 putout. And just like that, out number 1 is on the board. 2 strikeouts here for Jerry Ramirez. And now Mitch Kerner from Emory University will step in.
And how much has Jerry Ramirez improved over the summer, Jonathan? Just look at the difference from the start to now. I mean, he's so composed on the mound. He has full command of all of his pitches. and he's going deeper into games as well.
First pitch low for ball one to Kerner. You're absolutely right, Jordan. He seems like he understands how to control at-bats now. He's commanding out there. These batters aren't coming up and saying, we're going to hit that guy. They're coming up and saying, how do we hit that guy now? The 1-0, fouled back, strike one. And that's the mentality you want as a pitcher from the opposing team. It's not, oh yeah, we're going to come up and hit this guy. It's, how do we? What do we do? You want guys who you strike out to go and try to give advice to the guy on the on-deck circle, because that means they're confused. They don't know how to hit you. And so far, Jerry has had this Saints team number as he deals another curveball at the bottom of the zone for strike two. That has been unhittable so far today. The 1-2 in, another curveball slapped to third, just fair. Lewis on the short hop to McFarland for out number two.
Nothing could go wrong right now for the Oaks. A nice backhanded stop from Lewis at third base. He made a bad throw, but lucky for him, he had Jordan McFarland saving the day at first base with a nice back pick for the second out in the inning.
Tristan Peterson from New Mexico State now digs in. Played right field last game, but DHing in this game, skies one foul for strike one. He was 2 for 2 in a pinch hit spot. He came in for Jack Smith on Tuesday. On the season, though, for Tristan Peterson, he's only batting .175, 8 RBIs. He does have 2 home runs, which leads the team. Takes a fastball at the knees for strike two, and every batter that has come up to face Jerry so far, the first 6, have found themselves down in the count. The 0-2 in. Curveball sliced into left field and down for a single. Peterson was able to gather himself and put bat to ball. And the Saints have their first base runner on the game with 2 outs here in the second inning.
Well, there goes the no-hitter, and the way Jerry's been throwing, that was honestly a question that was in the way back of my mind. Obviously, it's only the second inning. I just say that to show just how great Jerry looks today. His stuff is really sharp.
Gabe Chavez digging in now. First pitch up the middle. Tanner Wright makes a sliding backhand over the shoulder to Shaken. Does he have it? He does. Wow, what a play. Tanner Wright to Sam Shaken on the athletic 4-6 putout. And we are through 1.5 here. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. The Oaks maintain a 3-0 lead. They have the 9-1 and 2 hitters due up after the break on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Three 0 remains the score as we bring you back here in the bottom of the second inning. To my right, Jordan Brenner. To my left, Sean McKinnon. My name is Jonathan Rifkin. Happy to be with you on hand for the lone home game of the week for the Oaks. They're up 3-0, as I mentioned, and Bryce Vitt will step in. Committed to Sonoma State a couple of weeks ago by way of Pierce Junior College, one of the Oaks' phenomenal trio of catchers. Batting .214 on the season, though, as the first pitch comes in. Low, a call to strike. 0-1 the count. 3 runs, 3 hits for the Oaks. No runs and a hit for the Saints. No errors on either side as Peacock offers the 0-1. Swing and a miss for strike 2. Fastball at 90 miles an hour.
One thing I'll say about the Oaks catchers that I don't think we've talked about too much on the broadcast. I think we have the fastest catchers in the CCL. Maybe except for Drew Sims, but Drew, you do other things very well.
The 0-1 popped out of play. 0-2 remains the count. Peacock had a rough first inning to face the top 8 for the Oaks. The 0-2, did he go around? Indeed, he did on the outside. Curveball, strike 3. And Peacock begins the second where he left off on the first with a strike out. His 3rd of the game. And 1 out now for Tanner Wright, who walked back in the first inning and came around to score on the RBI single by Jordan McFarland. So we're here at George Sparky Anderson Field. And a lot of people wonder why the field here at Cal Lutheran is named after the MLB great, as one has popped up to left center field. Jenkins, Armenta, and Ney all under it, and that ball drops in between all 3 of them, and Wright is going to leg it out to second base. That's a double. Bloop double if I've ever seen one, and Tanner Wright, great heads-up play right there. Armenta tried to dive and make the catch out of short. Ney and Jenkins didn't call for it, and they just let that ball drop.
Tanner Wright was almost in no man's territory when he rounded first base. He didn't know if he wanted to go back or go to second. He took a leap of faith, and it worked out for the Oaks.
Brandon Lewis stepping in now. He's 1 for 1 with the run scored. As we mentioned, leading the league in every statistical offensive category with the exception of strikeouts, which I think he's happy about. Takes a first pitch fastball inside. He's batting .405 so far. Has 147 plate appearances and 126 at-bats, 32 runs, 17 doubles. That is a handful. He's been hit 7 times, which leads the team. 32 RBIs. That's more than double of what anybody else has besides Chase Cockrell. Fastball in the dirt for ball 2. Good block by Kerner to keep right at second base. But going back to the whole Sparky Anderson ordeal, Sparky Anderson obviously not from the area. He was actually born in Bridgewater, South Dakota in 1934. He was drafted by the Philadelphia Phillies in 1959, and his last MLB appearance was very soon after that, September 27th for the Phillies in 1959. Excuse me, not 79, 59. He batted .218 that season, but he went on to be the manager of the Cincinnati Reds for 8 seasons, the Detroit Tigers for 16 seasons, as a changeup comes inside for ball 2. From 1970 to 1978, he was the Cincinnati Reds manager. And actually, that was ball 3. But from 1979 to 1995, he was the Detroit Tigers manager. He won 3 World Series, 2 with the Reds and 1 with the Tigers. The 3-0 to Lewis skies it out of play for strike 1. 3-1 the count. He was the 2-time AL Manager of the Year in 84 and 87. He was retired. His number was retired as a manager for the Reds, number 10, and his number 11 as a manager was retired for the Tigers. The Reds inducted them into their Hall of Fame, and in 2000, the Veterans Committee offered him a bid to the MLB Baseball Hall of Fame, which, of course, he accepted. Peacock offers the 3-1, a curveball. In there for strike 2. Lewis thought about going around, held back, and the result was not in his favor. Full count now to Brandon Lewis. But, of course, he was the bat boy for the USC Trojans back in the 40s when he moved to Los Angeles at the age of 8. That's when he fell in love with the game of baseball. After he graduated from Susan Miller Dorsey High School, he was signed by the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1953. Lewis fouls off the full count pitch. Runner on second, 1 out here in the bottom of the second inning. He won the American Legion Championship in 1951, and then a few years later ended up playing for the Phillies, as I mentioned. But He came out to Thousand Oaks thereafter, after he retired, and lived here for many years. He moved out in Thousand Oaks in 1989 when he was still a manager, and lived here full-time in 95. Pitch in the dirt, swinging a miss by Lewis, though he's going to leg it out as Kerner couldn't get a handle on it, and that's a strikeout, but an advancement to first, and the Oaks keep the inning alive here with only one out. They have runners at the corners. That's the fourth strikeout for Peacock, but it's kind of negated with the base runner on first base.
That's just how things are going for Brandon Lewis right now. When you're hitting the ball well, good things happen to you. And let's be straight, that was a lucky thing that just happened to Brandon Lewis, but Oaks will take it.
Back in 2000, George Sparky Anderson was very involved in the realm of baseball in the Thousand Oaks area. Here at Cal Lutheran, they just started off their Division III campaign in the NCAA as Jordan McFarland digs in. He's 1 for 1 with an RBI. The first pitch, a curveball in there for strike. No, it's high. That looked good to everybody. Even the Oaks fan were confused where that missed. But nonetheless, 1-0 the count here. McFarland will be happy with it. But after he dabbled here in the area in baseball, he was actually honored. He was an assistant coach for Cal Lutheran from 2000 to 2003 and really changed the program around, made them a notable, prominent Division III program out in the Thousand Oaks area, an area that many people outside of the Southern California region don't really know about. Of course, Cal Lutheran won the NCAA Division III championship last season. So fastball misses outside in the dirt for ball 2 to McFarland. And in 2006, the construction was completed for the brand new athletic complex here at Cal Lutheran, and they named it Sparky Anderson Field after George Sparky Anderson. And of course, in 2010, he was placed in hospice care because of his deteriorating dementia condition, and he unfortunately passed away at the age of 76 on November 4th, 2010. But he was also inaugurated to the Cal Lutheran Hall of Fame, as that pitch is a strike at the knees, 2-1 here in McFarland. And a lot of big names in the Cal Lutheran Hall of Fame. Mike Sosha, the Angels manager, is when he went here for grad school. The Oregon head coach for where Jordan and I go to university up in Eugene, Oregon. George Horton, he's in the Cal Lutheran Hall of Fame. He went here for grad school as well. The 2-1, a curveball, runner goes. It's called a strike, and there's no throw. Brandon Lewis swipes his 9th base of the season. One away, runners in scoring position, 2-2 the count here. That's the history of George Sparky Anderson in the area, and how special for the sleepy little town of Thousand Oaks to have such a great name associated with the area. 2-2 win. Low for ball 3, and McFarland has a full count. Of course, Don James, a professor at Pepperdine University for 15 years, wrote an incredible story on George Sparky Anderson and his affiliation to the Thousand Oaks area for the MLB Writers Bureau, and that was published back in 2011. The 3-2, a curveball, hacked at and missed, strike 3. McFarland goes down swinging. 5 strikeouts now for Peacock. 2 outs on the board, and the runners remain in scoring position. And now Chase Cockrell will dig in for the Yokes. He's 0 for 1 today. He was 0 for 5 on Tuesday. In a very uncharacteristic performance for him. He did have 2 strikeouts, 2 flyouts, and a groundout in that game. Peacock deals the first pitch in the dirt. Cockrell held back. That's ball 1. After striking out Vitt to begin the inning, Wright doubled on a blooper. Advanced to third on Lewis, striking out and then advancing on the wild pitch to first base. Lewis stole second and McFarland struck out. That's where we are in the inning so far. Peacock taking his time, dishes the 1-0, slap down into the Oaks dugout, and that evens the count here to Cockrell. Quiet day here at the ballpark, a handful of fans on both sides, trying to soak in their last home game in quite a while. Something uncharacteristic, but the longest quote-unquote longest road trip of the season coming up. 1-1, a strike on the outside corner. 77-mile-an-hour looping curveball. Cockrell took it. 1 ball, 2 strikes to him. Healdsburg was a longer road trip, but of course the team only played Healdsburg. The Oaks have to play 2 different teams in the span of those 3 days, where they go up to SLO, Santa Barbara, and then back to Santa Barbara. And the back and forth really takes a toll. Here comes the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 4 strikeouts in the inning for Peacock, and all to get 3 outs. He has 6 on the game, and the Oaks strand 2 on base. No runs hit, no errors, and 2 left in scoring position. We're through 2 full innings. The Oaks maintain a 3-0 lead. 8, 9, and 1 hitters due up here for the Saints when we come back on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Dalton A. from Lee University, who was incredible in left field on Tuesday, digs in for his first opportunity behind the plate, or next to the plate, I should say. The team trailing 3-0 as Jeremiah is back on the mound for his 3rd inning of work. The first pitch, a curveball in there for strike 1. Only one Saints batter has been able to put bat to ball in an instance where the curveball has been hurled to the plate. That was Tristan Peterson. He singled, but no other Saints batter has been able to touch it. The 0-1, another curveball. Swung on and missed. That ball bounced about a foot in front of the plate, but Nay was way off balance for strike 2. Wind has shifted now towards right field. It would start off towards right center. The 0-2, a fastball way inside for ball 1. And that hurts right-handed batters more because, of course, right center a little bit more forgiving, keeps balls in play and pushes them out there. But towards right field, if you have a hard hit ball down the line, that could go foul. 1-2, curveball, cracked out of play. The count remains just that. And on the season, batting .216, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs. That's good for 2nd on the team. Struck out 19 times. He's only walked 4. Takes a curveball upstairs for ball 2. Seems like Ramirez is only exclusively throwing curveballs right now, and that can pose a problem because eventually, especially in the mid-60s, the opposing team could pick up on it. 2-2 is a fastball. Slapped at and missed, though. Or fouled back, I should say. 2-2 remains the count. Continuing with the motif of national holidays that we've established here on the broadcast, today's National Lollipop Day. So fastball's in the dirt for ball 3. Full count here to Dalton A. This is a day of course, children of all ages can enjoy. I'm still a child, even though I'm 21 years old, at least at heart. But most people in the Midwest actually celebrate this more so than elsewhere. It's the payoff pitch, right into the glove of right at second base for out number 1. 6 pitches, 1 out here. And Jacob Jenkins in the bottom of the order steps in.
Well, that works. Tanner Wright always fields his position very well, and he made a nice play right there to secure the first out of the inning.
In 1931, when George Smith invented the modern-day lollipop, as Jenkins lays down to bunt, Vitbear hands it over to first, but not in time, and Jenkins able to leg it out for an infield single. Nice bunt single right there. Puts the Saints' second base runner over at first base in this ball game.
Now batting third baseman, number
Back in
6.
1931, George Smith, as I mentioned, created the modern-day lollipop and deemed it the lollipop. That was the lollipop that we all know and love, and the patent was actually given to him on July 19th, so since then, July 19th, 1931, this day has been known as National Lollipop Day. Back to the top of the order for Cameron Briggs. High, deep flyer to right field. On the move is Spears. And he makes the grab for out number 2. Retreating back to first base is Jenkins. But in 1908, there was a quote-unquote industrial population, of course, pop-dashulation. The Racine Confectionery Machine Company invented a machine that actually produced 24,000 pops per minute. Now, 110 years later, that very machine was updated, and they can create over 120,000 lollipops per minute. Pretty insane. Angelo Armenta digs in here. He's 0 for 1. First pitch, a curveball at the knees for strike 1. But in ancient times, they were actually called honey sticks. Ancient people across the world ate honey off of sticks, and those were the earliest known quote-unquote lollipops in history. Fastball catches the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike here to Armenta. Pretty crazy what can pass off for a national holiday nowadays. It's also National Moon Day. If you weren't worshiping a lollipop, I guess the moon is your next best option. As the 0-2 pitch is skied out of play. National Moon Day was deemed as such back in 1946 by the National Planetarium Society. The only way to really celebrate it is to go outside and enjoy the natural light of the night sky. No balls, 2 strikes. Armenta digs back in. The 0-2 called strike 3 on the outside corner. And Angelo Armenta is retired for the 3rd out of the top of the 3rd inning. 3 strikeouts now for Ramirez. No runs hit, no errors. And Jacob Jenkins stranded on first base. The Oaks up 3-0 still. They have Shaken, West, and Spears due up in the home half of the 3rd inning. You're watching Oaks Baseball on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Sam Shaken will lead things off here for the Oaks in the bottom of the 3rd inning. 3-0 the score. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're enjoying your Thursday. No matter how you're watching or where you're watching, we appreciate you making Oaks Baseball a part of your Thursday evening plans. Shaken's 0 for 1 so far today with a strikeout swinging back in the 1st. Look to make amends here against Peacock, who's back on the mound for his 3rd inning of work. First pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. Shaken batted .284 this past season with Valparaiso, and it's really funny. Yesterday, Mike Sosha, who, of course, aside from being the Angels' manager, is the majority owner of the Oaks, along with the rest of the amateur bat development group. The 0-1, curveball inside, ball one. Mike Sosha made an appearance, as he always does at the prospect game, and talks to the Oaks players, the Oaks interns. And he came up to Sam Shaken, and Shaken introduced himself, and Sosha said, "I know who you are. I know that Shaken name." Peacock deals the 1-1. Curveball, that one. Also a little bit low. 2-1 the count here to Shaken. Sam Shaken's uncle Bill is the LA Dodgers beat reporter for the Los Angeles Times, and Sosha kind of gave Sam a little bit of attitude as a joke, of course, about that, because the Angels and the Dodgers not the best of friends. The 2-1. Upstairs, ball three. He said, "Yeah, your uncle has written about me a number of times, and I haven't really liked anything I've read." Of course, in a very jokingly manner. And Shaken just laughed and continued to converse with Mr. Sosha. It was a very funny couple of minutes. And Mike is a great guy, though. Very down to earth. He came and talked to everybody. 3-1. High popper into shallow right center field. Chavez at a second base. Calls it and makes the catch for out number one. But Sosha's one of those guys that you can just connect with no matter who you are, no matter what your background is. He will always give you the time of day, and he's just such a pleasure to be around. He had an interview on Fox yesterday, and he wasn't supposed to go more than half an inning. But they asked him to stay for another full inning, and he happily obliged. Art West now stepping in. He's 0-for-0 today with a walk. Peacock rocks and fires the first pitch. A fastball at the knees for strike one. Peacock's been taking some MPH off of his fastball. He was in the low 90s earlier back in the first inning, but he was a little bit erratic. Here in the high 80s, he has some more control. The 0-1. Fastball in the dirt. West is drawn a 1-1 count. The team, of course, got a big picture with Mike Sosha. That's our new Twitter cover photo over on the Conejo Oaks Twitter page. And it was just a fun day all around. Jordan and I were out and about interviewing players, and head coach Dave Solis talking to scouts and the Fox Sports broadcasters. 1-1, slapped foul out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The most important, most fun conversation we had, though, Jordan Brenner and I, was with Jeffrey Francis. We had the opportunity to talk with many people, from scouts to broadcasters, and I can safely tell you that we took more out of our conversation with Jeffrey Francis than we did with anybody else.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. We talked to some smart people yesterday, and Jeffrey was no exception.
1-2 curveball at the knees, strike three. Saints bench needs to be careful. They started to taunt Shaken after that, or excuse me, West after that. That's 7 strikeouts now here for Peacock. And after that long first inning where he gave up 3 runs, the Oaks have been silent. Michael Spears now steps in with 2 away. Yeah, Coach Francis, longtime resident of Thousand Oaks. Pitch upstairs for ball one. Originally from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, but very well known in the area as a prominent basketball coach. Peacock toes the rubber. The 1-0. Skied back out of play. Strike one. Spears is 1 for 1 today with an RBI single. Feel free to connect with us, whether it be on Twitter or on our YouTube live chat, friend or foe, questions, comments, concerns. You want a shout out, you have a stat you like Jordan or myself to know. Always love to hear what our viewers have to say. Don't be shy. 1-1 offering. Curveball, missing outside for ball 2. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Oaks. No runs, 2 hits for the Saints. The Oaks have stranded 4 on base. The Saints have stranded 2 here through the first 2 2/3 innings played. Peacock trying to force the Oaks into a 1-2-3 situation. Deals one low and inside for ball 3, and he's 1 ball away from that being the opposite of what could happen. Spears has shown a lot of patience here. That's a big reason why his batting average is up, why his base on balls average or his strikeout to walk ratio is up. That's been the biggest change that we've seen from his slumping start this season. 3 balls, 1 strike. The pitch misses low and away at ball 4. And after retiring the first 2 batters, Spears draws a walk from Peacock, his 3rd walk given up on the game, and the Oaks have a runner on first with Andrew Lucas stepping in.
Andrew Lucas.
Charles Peacock, what a performance so far today. Obviously forgetting the first inning, but just the swing and miss stuff we've seen. It's been unbelievable.
First pitch of Lucas misses low for ball one. He's 0 for 1 today. The last strikeout back in the first inning. But you talk about how Peacock's been doing well. How about Jerry Ramirez on the other side? This is a pitcher's duel right now. The only difference is that first inning. And sometimes that can make all the difference in a ball game. You could go 2 through 9 amazingly, but just like in soccer, one goal can make a difference. One inning can make a difference in baseball. And so far, that one inning is the difference in the game. Runner goes. What a jump. The 1-0 swung on a miss, and there's nobody over there to cover the bag as Spears slides in. Michael Spears has gotten the best jumps we've seen all season long whenever he's on base, and right there, no exception.
Yeah, not at all. He was halfway to second base before Peacock even started his wind-up to throw the pitch. What a jump from Spears. Doesn't matter how fast you are when you get a jump like that.
He's 13 for 14 in stolen bases. Now that leads the team. The only Oak in double digits in that regard. 1-1 offering, a curveball missing low for ball two. Lucas thought about going, but wisely held back.
And Lucas is dangerous when he's ahead in counts. When he falls behind 0-1, 0-2, a little bit of inexperience, he chases pitches off the plate, but when he gets ahead and he gets pitches to hit, watch out.
Peacock checks Spears at second a couple of times. Spears taking a very generous lead off of second. The 2-1 to Lucas is a curveball. That one catches the bottom of the zone for strike two. Been pretty inconsistent, that lower strike zone call. The Oaks and the Saints have been catalysts of inconsistency. Curveballs have been called balls and strikes towards that lower knee area. I've been able to have a consistent idea of exactly what's a ball and what's a strike down there so far in this game. The 2-2. Called strike three on the outside corner. Spears gets caught, or Lucas gets caught looking. That's strikeout number 8 on the day for Peacock. After walking Spears, he's left on base. No runs, no hits, no errors, and Spears left on second base. The Oaks continue to maintain a 3-0 lead. It's been a quiet second and third innings on both sides, with a fourth inning after this on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Cooper Williams, who's 0 for 1 today, will lead things off here for the fourth, and everything you need to know about Cooper Williams, Jairo Ramirez, and the Oaks 3-0 lead for the fourth, fifth, and sixth innings. My broadcasting partner, Jordan Brenner.
Thanks, Jonathan. Ramirez, a first pitch hook on the outside corner, called strike one. Jerry Ramirez has been simply spectacular so far today. He's gone 3 scoreless with 3 strikeouts. Next pitch, off speed in the dirt, a ball and a strike. Well, seeing how today is the first day of the second half in Major League Baseball, as the 1-1 pitch comes in a little bit low, 2 balls a strike, I thought I'd give some of the best second half performances in recent Major League Baseball history. Has some information today. 2-1 from Ramirez. He rocks and fires and delivers a fastball Blown away, 3-1 is the count. And seeing as though I'm only 19 years old, I can't really speak for some of the great second halves of 1970, 1980. A ground ball right into the shift. That's why you do the shift over to first base in time. Tanner Wright to McFarland, a 4-3 putout, even though it looked weird, for the first out of the inning. Armenta on the ground out. New hitter is Cooper Williams, the first baseman, who's 0 for 1 with a flyout. So I'm going to talk about some great second halves in my lifetime, so I can actually be educated about it. The first name might be familiar to those who reside in Southern California. Eric Gagne. First pitch from Ramirez. He hung an off-speed pitch, a little bit high and inside, 1-0. So the 2003 season for Eric Gagne was a spectacular one. One of the most dominant, first a comebacker back to Ramirez. He gloves it and pitches it over to first base for a quick second out of the inning. What a play by Ramirez. The reflexes on full display right there. And quickly 2 away as Brennan McKenzie, who's 0 for 1, comes in for his second plate appearance. So Eric Gagne, his 2003 season was one of the most dominant displays a reliever has ever shown in the game of baseball. Ramirez delivers a first pitch lined right up the middle, a base hit for McKenzie. Checks in for his first base hit of the ball game, and maybe a 2-out rally on hand for the Arroyo Seco Saints. But in that 2003 season for Eric Gagne, his second half stood out. The first half was good, the second half was better, and I'll tell you just how good that was in a moment. Mitch Kerner, the new hitter, 0 for 1 with a 5-3 ground out back in the second inning. First pitch, a swing and a miss, 0-1. Gagne, in the second half, he threw 38 innings. And in that span, he gave up only 1 run. It was a solo shot to Vladimir Guerrero of the then Montreal Expos. Other than that, he was perfect. 0-1 pitch. In the dirt spike, Vitt gets to the ball, fires over to second base to Wright. Oh, he had him in time if Wright was able to come up with it, but he bobbles it, and that's going to be a wild pitch on Jerry Ramirez. That was a very close play. Bryce Vitt, so athletic behind the plate, one of the best defensive catchers in the CCL. Made a very challenging play, looked pretty easy right there. 1-2 now. 2 Kerner. Runner on second base, that's McKenzie. Ramirez peers in for his sign. A long pause, agrees with Vitt. And here's the delivery. Lined into left field, a base hit. McKenzie's going to come around third, he'll score. Lucas fires back into the infield, and all of a sudden the Saints cut into the Oaks lead. It's 3-1 in favor of Conejo.
Second baseman number 1, Gabe Chavez.
And that is the first run of the ball game for the Saints, and let's see how Jerry Ramirez can recover with some adversity thrown in his face. He's been hit hard for the first time all game this inning. 2 hits and a run have come around. Ramirez, a first pitch hammer at the knees, 0-1. A beautiful curveball. Eric Gagne, going back to him, he only gave up one run and only 14 hits in those 38 second half innings. That is a .24 ERA in the second half. En route to a Cy Young. Ground ball over to Lewis. He's going to go the short way over to Tanner Wright at second base, and that's going to do it for the inning. But the Saints strike for their first run of the ball game. 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, a runner left aboard. We're on to the bottom of the 4th inning. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Oaks Baseball on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Bryce Vitt is the new hitter to lead off the bottom of the fourth inning. Vitt struck out in his only plate appearance today. So going back to second half surges, let's talk about the Oakland A's in 2002. And if you've seen the movie Moneyball, you're probably pretty familiar with this story. From the belt, the first pitch slides outside. 1 ball, no strikes. The Oakland A's in 2002 went on a 20-game winning streak in the second half of the season, catapulting them from the dumpsters into first place as 1-0 misses away, 2 balls and no strikes. And at that time in 2002, that was an American League record for the longest winning streak for an AL team ever. That was just recently broken by the 2017 Cleveland Indians, who won 22 in a row, 2-0, resides high and inside, and the count is 3 balls and no strikes. Peacock in danger of walking his 4th batter of the ballgame. Just to put this A's run in context, they started their run in 3rd place, 4.5 games out of first, and 3-0 turns to a walk. And Bryce Vitt is aboard for the first time today. The 4th walk of the ball game for Peacock, who has 8 strikeouts as well. So it seems he's either getting knocked around, he's walking guys, or he's getting a strikeout. Not really much in between. There's going to be a quick meeting on the mound before facing Tanner Wright, the second baseman. Wright's been on board both times up today. A walk, a run scored, and a double in the second inning.
Now batting second baseman number 1, Tanner Wright.
So on August 12th, 2002, when they started their win streak, they were in 3rd place, 4.5 games out of first place. On September 4th, the same year, they were in first place by 3.5 games. Pitch is inside, a ball and no strikes to Wright. 88 miles an hour. The fastball tailed a little bit inside. Over the course of that 20-game winning streak, there were some memorable moments, as there's a throw over to first base, but Vitt slides back in safely. There wasn't a bigger moment than the game against the Kansas City Royals, though, as 1-0 catches the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Oaks didn't agree with that call. The A's actually in 2002 went up 11-0 in their winning streak. A 1-1 is in the dirt, blocked by Kerner, and Vitt has to stay at bay at first, and the count is 2-1. So they were up 11-0, and they were probably feeling quite good about themselves. But 11 unanswered runs left the game tied at 11 until Scott Hatteberg hit a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th to keep the streak alive for just one more night. Unbelievable, dramatic stuff. Throw over to first base again. Vitt slides back in safely. I think there's some action starting to brew in the Oaks bullpen. Oh, actually, that's just Aiden Dolan standing around stretching. So Ramirez is solid to go the next frame. 2-1, a swing and a miss, and the count is even at 2. That streak for the A's, though, was all for nothing. They went on to lose in the American League Division Series to the Minnesota Twins. But that 20-game winning streak still has its place in history. Another throw over to first base. Vitt slides back in safely again. They're really worried about the catcher over at first base. And just like I was talking about earlier in the broadcast, the Oaks have some very fast catchers. 2-2, a big curveball, an even bigger swing and a miss. Chalk that up as number 9 for Charles Peacock. Another strikeout. And Brandon Lewis, the dangerous righty, will come to the plate for the 3rd time today. He's been aboard both times he's come to the plate. In the first inning, he had a base hit to left field, came around to score. In the second inning, he struck out but reached on the drop third strike. Stole second base, but was eventually stranded, and now he's up for the third time today. First pitch, off speed, called a strike at the knees, 0-1. Brandon Lewis has been on some type of run recently. He's on another planet, it seems. No balls, a strike. 1 on. That's Bryce Vitt at first base. 1 out in the frame. Here's the pitch. Hit hard down the left field line, but foul. That ball was cooked. Infield straight away, same with the outfield. Playing relatively deep, but that makes sense when you have a powerful guy like Brandon Lewis at the plate. McFarland on deck, followed by Chase Cockrell. The 0-2 pitch. A throw over to first base again. And by my count, that's the 5th throw over of the at-bat. Bryce Vitt is going to have to do some laundry tonight. 0-2. Here's the pitch. A big curveball, way high. Kerner has to come out from his crouch and leap up to make that grab to prevent the ball from going to the backstop. And the count is 1-2. 3 runs on 4 hits for Conejo. A run on 4 hits for the Arroyo Seco Saints. Just seems like the Oaks have their number this season. 1-2 from the belt. Peacock delivers the pitch. Curveball, he hung it. Brandon Lewis couldn't get all of it. A shallow, lazy fly ball to center field. Jacob Jenkins, his hat flies off, but he comes in to make the play for the second out of the inning. And now it'll be up to Jordan McFarland to continue the Oaks rally with 2 outs in the inning. McFarland had a base hit in the first inning. That was an RBI base hit. And he also came around to score. In the second inning, however, he struck out swinging. Now in for his third at-bat. Peacock's first pitch to McFarland, a curveball, he hung it. And the count is 1-0. Shout out to the wonderful Simonsgard family. We love hearing from you. And have a wonderful dinner at home. Always nice to get some home cooking. Throw over to first base. Lewis back safely. Peacock gonna have a quick stroll around the mound. Compose his thoughts. Compose himself. And now he's set for the 1-0 pitch. He peers in. And here's the delivery. A fastball high, 89 miles an hour. And the count is 2-0. McFarland appeared in the CCL prospect game yesterday. Was the first Oak in the game to get a hit. Had a base hit to left field. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs, a runner on. Here's the pitch. A big swing and a miss at the 74-mile-an-hour curveball that drops in the dirt. Wonderful pitch. And a hitter's count at 2-1. Two-1 from the belt. Peacock gets his sign, pauses, and fires. Another curveball at the knees. McFarland strongly disagrees, turns his head, takes a few steps back to the Oaks dugout, rubs some dirt on his legs, and now he's back in there. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bottom of the 4th inning. Peacock trying to get his 10th strikeout of the ball game. But McFarland stays alive. A fastball in on the hands. He fought it off. Up and behind us, out of play. The Oaks will be back in action tomorrow in San Luis Obispo, one of the premier sites of the CCL. 2-2, a throw over to first base again to check on Bryce Vitt. And as I've grown accustomed to saying, he's back in safely. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the toss. McFarland swings and misses. Number 10 for Charles Peacock. The Oaks lead off the inning with a Bryce Vitt walk. That was a mouthful, but they can't do anything with it. Peacock strikes 2 batters out, no runs, no hits, no errors, a runner left aboard. To the top of the 5th we go. The Oaks on top 3-1 here on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Back in for the top of the 5th inning. I got one more story for all of our viewers here in a 3-1 Oaks advantage ball game. 3 runs, 4 hits for Caneo. A run on 4 hits for the Arroyo Seco Saints. My final second half baseball story actually has to do with the largest deficit as far as games back go in second half history. But Ramirez, a first pitch, strike on the inside corner, a big curveball, 0-1. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Down in the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike. In 2006, the Minnesota Twins, at the end of the All-Star break, were as far as 11 games back of the Detroit Tigers. 1-1, outside corner, called a strike, 1-2. What a pitch from Jerry Ramirez. And now we're going to see action out in the Oaks bullpen. 1-2. Ramirez peers in and fires. Down in the dirt, 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Twins rattled off 12 wins out of 13 games out of the All-Star break, but the Tigers didn't stumble quite then. And they were still 9.5 back after 12 of 13 winning stretch. Hard liner to Lewis, and he's right there. He makes the snag on the backhand. The ball didn't drop, and that'll be the first out of the inning. But in August, the Tigers went 13-16 and 12-16 in September and October to finish the season. And the Twins' second half record of 49-27, as the pitches fell back to the screen. That 59-29 second half record was enough to propel them to a division championship. But they lost in the playoffs. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Outside, 1-1. New hitter is Jacob Jenkins, the center fielder, who's 0 for 1 with a fly out to right field. 1-1 curveball in at the knees, a ball and 2 strikes. 66 miles an hour for Ramirez. Story of the game so far, despite not winning. First, a 1-2 changeup. A big swing and a miss for the strikeout. Number 4 on the day for Jerry Ramirez. The story of the day has been Charles Peacock, who has chalked up 10 strikeouts. Jonathan, have we seen that this year so far?
I think he is the first, at least opposing pitcher, to deal in double digits against this team. It's amazing that the Oaks still somehow have the lead.
Ramirez, first pitch, liner, Tanner Wright. What a play, leaps and grabs it, robbing Cameron Briggs of a base hit. A 1-2-3 inning for the Oaks, just what the doctor ordered. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. To the bottom of the 5th we go, 3-1 Caneo on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. New pitcher for the bottom of the 5th inning. Charles Peacock's day is done. He's replaced by number 28, Bobby Fulkerson, who we saw at the CCL Prospect game yesterday. 15 2/3 innings pitched so far this season, an ERA of 5.75. Chase Cockrell will lead off. Peacock's final line, 4 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned 4 walks. And how about this? 10 strikeouts. Cockrell today, 0 for 2, a strikeout, and a ground out.
You know what's funny about Bobby Fulkerson? He went to Southern New Hampshire University. He's transferring. He never pitched for them. He was a third baseman. He appeared in 18 games and batted .211. Maybe perhaps making the switch to pitcher.
That is funny. Chase Cockrell trying to check in with his first hit of the day. A big curveball high and inside. Want to know. It's been a very quiet game since the bottom of the first inning, where the Oaks put up a crooked number and exploded for 3 runs to start this game out. Cockrell finally checks in with a base hit, a ringer into left field, and nobody out, and a runner on for Sam Shaken.
Talked about how he was due right there, getting his first hit the last 2 league games. And it has to feel good for Chase Cockrell. Yesterday he struck out in his first at-bat in the Prospect game and came back with a off-speed pitch that he took the other way for a single, and that was a very good Chase Cockrell moment. That looked like the Chase Cockrell that we've been accustomed to seeing, and so far, 1 for 3 today, breaking out of that slump.
Shaken hits one hard, bruised into the left field corner, not into the gap. Cockrell around second to third, Shaken into second base. 2 on in scoring position for the Oaks. Nobody out for Bart West.
Nice job there from Shaken. Talk about another guy who needs to get hot. Sam Shaken Saw that ball very well, found the gapper out there, and Jenkins and Ney just couldn't muster up enough speed to cut off that ball before the damage was done. And now Bart West, who's been manufacturing base runners, or manufacturing runners on base in his own sense, I guess, steps in a very prime spot to give the Oaks more so of a lead than the 2 runs they currently lead by right now.
Yeah, West has been tearing the baseball out of its cover recently. The corners are playing shallow. First pitch to West, a called strike at the knees, a big curveball at 73 miles an hour. And he's behind 0-1. Fulkerson has not recorded an out so far. Big gap in right center field, and West loves to go there. The 0-1 toss on its way. Just a bit outside, 1-1. Fulkerson wears number 28, and he also wears a pretty spectacular mustache on his face, Jonathan. I wish I could grow something like that.
We talked about how that mustache, almost Raleigh Fingers-like, one of the, probably the best mustache in the CCL. We can tell, safe to say that Angus Denton has the best beard, but I think that Bobby Fulkerson has the best mustache, and trying to pitch like Raleigh Fingers here, too, if he can.
The 1-1 flip. Curveball hit hard center field, should be deep enough for Cockrell. Jenkins makes the play. Cockrell tags. The throw is over to third base, so Cockrell will score. And Shaken is also safe at third base on a very productive sac fly from Bart West. The game is now 4-1 in favor of Conejo.
And Bart will do that for you. He does a great job of finding ways, as I mentioned, to manufacture runners, to manufacture runs, and right there got the job done. In a big spot here, the Oaks have blown the lead before against the Saints when they lost 5-4 a couple of weeks ago. They certainly don't want to blow another one here.
Michael Spears takes a first pitch, high and away, 1-0. Spears today on base both times he's come to the plate. Base hit in the first inning, a walk in the third. He also stole a bag. 1-0 pitch, high again, 2-0. 83 miles an hour from Fulkerson, who we've seen quite a bit so far this season. And by we, I mean the Conejo Oaks. Two balls, no strikes. Launches the 2-0, a hanging curveball inside. It's actually...
It skinned the jersey of Spears.
Yeah, the home plate umpire says it got a piece of Spears, so runners at the corners with an out for Andrew Lucas. Lucas not off to his best start today. 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, 1 looking, 1 swinging. And a quick meeting on the mound, maybe discussing what to see with Andrew Lucas.
During this discussion, we should give an update. Of course, on the CCL website, it shows the Oaks and the Blues tied for that 4th and final playoff spot. However, the Oaks do have one more game won than the Blues in CCL play. The website says the Oaks are 13-11. They actually are 14-11. We're working with the commissioner to change that because obviously that's a big deal. But nonetheless, the Blues and the Oaks, half the game separate them for that playoff spot. And right now, the Blues up over the Foresters 3-0. How incredible is that? In the second inning, the Blues have 3 hits to the Foresters 0. They scored 3 big runs against a very good Foresters team that only has 3 losses so far this season. We'll keep you posted on that game throughout this game today.
Yeah, makes the result of this game all the more important. Spears running to second base, no throw. And that's his second bag of the ball game, his 14th on the season. So 2 runners in scoring position for Andrew Lucas, who has been much more productive in non-CCL games this year. 0-1, a big curveball he lays off in the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know what's crazy is that Bryce Elder, the starter for the Foresters, only gave 2 earned runs all season coming into today's start. He gave up 3 in the bottom of the first inning, with the Blues getting off to a hot start.
With the infield in, a ground ball to the shortstop. They're going to throw to the plate. Shaken's caught up in a pickle. Now both Oaks are at third base. Shaken tries to dodge the tag. Shaken doesn't think he was tagged out, but he's going to be called out anyway. Andrew Lucas heads up play, moves over to second base on the play, and Spears over to third base.
So it's going to be a fielder's choice for calculating. It looks like a 6-2-3 pickle that allows Lucas over to second and Spears to third.
So essentially a ground out to first if the runners decided to stay. Shakin decided to be a little bit more aggressive, though. Bryce Vitt takes a curveball in the outside corner, called a strike. A strikeout and a walk in 2 plate appearances today. And also sensational defense.
Big spot here for Vitt, looking to keep his bat hot. Just want to extend this lead.
0-1 curveball. I don't know where that one missed, but apparently it did. 1 ball, 1 strike on the big hook. One on one. 2 runners in scoring position. The pitch. High for a ball. 2-1. Chance for Caneo to break this game wide open. First, a pause in play as one of the Saints coaches has to retrieve a ball in foul territory. And now back to baseball. Two on pitch. Curveball down in the way. 3-1 to Vitt. And Tanner Wright, the dangerous righty, is on deck.
The Oaks would love to get him up. His bat has been hot, and he's also coming off an incredible play.
3-1. Curveball called a strike on the inside corner. What a pitch from Fulkerson. And the count is full. 3-2. Runners will be going with 2 outs in the inning. Michael Spears off of third base. Andrew Lucas at second. The full count pitch. Peppered over to the third baseman, fielded over to first base on the sidearm. In time for the out. The Oaks get a runner. They get a run on 2 hits, no errors, and they strand a couple aboard. 4-1 Caneo as we head to the 6th inning. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Oaks Baseball on Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Jerry Ramirez's first pitch here in the top of the 6th inning. A fly ball behind home plate. It doesn't stay in play, about a foot over the netting and into foul territory. A loud bounce into the stands. are on the left side, 0-1 quickly to Angelo Armenta.
I was scared. There was a fan right there, and he actually reacted after. He wasn't sure exactly where that ball was going to land either. Luckily, everybody was okay.
0-1 to Armenta. Little fly ball inside the infield, no problem for McFarland. And Armenta is now 0 for 3. The new hitter, Cooper Williams, from the left side of the plate, the big first baseman. And the Oaks going to continue to shift on Cooper Williams. So far, it's worked pretty well. A fly out and a ground out. He's 0 for 2. He lays down a bunt, trying to get it down the left side and get a free hit, but he can't execute it well enough. And the count is 0-1.
It was almost a catcher's interference. The Oaks had one called against them on Tuesday when Kamenko was behind the plate. Vitt was very close to getting another one because when Williams laid down that bunt, when his bat came around, it almost hit the glove of Bryce Vitt. But Vitt was very lucky that ball was fouled off, and there was no contact made with his glove. So Cooper Williams has to strike up and doesn't get a free base.
4 runs, 6 hits, no errors for the Conejo Oaks. 1 run, 4 hits, no errors for the Arroyo Seco Saints. They play their home baseball out in Pasadena, California. 0-1 pitch. Ramirez delivers a curveball, and it was a little bit too good. Drops below the plate, 1-1. 4 strikeouts so far in the game for Jerry as the 1-1 pitch comes in. Hit hard, but not deep to center field. Andrew Lucas back. He's under it and makes the play. That was room service for Andrew Lucas in center field. Didn't have to move very much to make that play.
Yeah, he was well fed right there.
Oh, yeah.
Gobbled that room service right up. You're making me hungry, Jordan.
Almost dinner time.
For Andrew Lucas, that was dinner.
Oh, yeah. Brennan McKenzie, the new hitter. A base hit and a strikeout in 2 plate appearances today. 1 for 2. Advance on a wild pitch as well. Ramirez, curveball, called a strike, 0-1. Jerry Ramirez trying to get through 6 innings of 1-run baseball. On the inside corner on the fastball. What a beauty, 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Ramirez trying for a 1-2-3 frame, but he misses on the curveball inside, 1-2.
I'm okay with that, though. That was a good miss. The curveball was perfectly utilized right there, and you still have 3 more balls to play with. If you're McKenzie, you're still off balance. You don't know what's going to come at you here.
In the dirt, 2-2.
Good pitch. I think it was just a little bit poor execution there. Another off-speeder. Because after you see curveball, and if a pitcher misses, often they'll go with a fastball or something a little bit quicker. Right there, Ramirez went back to the curveball, but he buried it.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Ramirez quickly, the pitch. Swung on and missed. Gets by Vitt. He recovers and fires over to first base. Number 5 for Jerry Ramirez. 2 straight 1-2-3 innings. The Oaks on top 4-1 as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning here on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network.
For the Oaks, second baseman number 1.
Tanner Wright leading off the bottom of the 6th inning. Wright's had a very big day so far. A walk, a run scored, a hustle double, and he also struck out in the 4th inning. Bobby Fulkerson back on the hill for a 2nd inning of work. Gave up a run in his 1st inning, also 2 hits, but also stranded 2 runners on base. 83 miles an hour on the fastball, high, 1-0.
Besides Brandon Lewis, Jordan, is Tanner Wright that guy for this team that when he goes up, you're just sitting comfortable because you know he's going to do something almost time and time again?
If we're talking about as far as consistency goes, I think Tanner Wright deserves to be in the conversation. However, we wouldn't be doing our jobs correctly if we didn't mention Jordan McFarland, Chase Cockrell as well. Even though Chase is struggling, he's still producing more than others would in the midst of a big slump.
I think Elijah Alexander's in that conversation, too.
1-0, hit hard to the shortstop, and Armenta grabs it for the first out of the inning.
But in just terms of production, Tanner Wright's not going to strike out. He has 7 strikeouts in over 80 plate appearances. You know he won't strike out. To have that knowledge,
that's big.
Yeah, you have to be so comfortable as a coach or as a fan or as a scout or whoever you are to know this guy's going to come up and at least do something in the right-handed batter's box besides strike out almost every time.
That's a great point, Jonathan. Tanner Wright, so underrated. Big swing for Brandon Lewis. First pitch off speed, fouled out of play to the right side, 0-1.
That was the home run pitch. He could have absolutely handled it, but just too far out ahead.
Brandon Lewis can make any pitch a home run pitch, as long as it's somewhere near the zone. Next pitch inside, a ball and a strike. Brandon Lewis today, 1 for 3. A base hit, a strikeout, and a flyout. But he did reach first base on the strikeout. 1-1 pitch. Fulkerson disagrees with his catcher, now agrees for the pitch. And here's the 1-1 toss. Demolished out to center field, but not quite deep enough here in Thousand Oaks. Under it, Jenkins for the 2nd out of the inning.
When a ball stays in Thousand Oaks off of Brandon Lewis' bat, it's going to be caught because most of the time when he hits one out of the ballpark, it leaves the city of Thousand Oaks and winds up in Calabasas or Century City or what have you.
I don't know how I'd get it to Century City, but
he has the power.
Does he have the curvature to that? Can he add that curvature?
One day.
Jordan McFarland takes the first pitch ball away. Ball and no strikes. Chase Cockrell on deck if the inning continues. McFarland today 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a base hit. 1-0, called a strike. Fastball in there, 1-1. On ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. And Fulkerson trying to follow suit after Ramirez is 1-2-3 and try and execute one of his own. Curveball in the dirt, 2-1. Jackson Simonsgard warming up in the Oaks bullpen.
Get ready for that one, fans. It's always a joy to watch out there on the mound.
Oh, yeah. 2 balls, a strike. The pitch smeared over to the third baseman, but foul. And the count is even at 2-2. Well, sorry, Jonathan.
Jordan.
No, go ahead.
That was the only time even when we're in agreement, we're in the disagreement. But anyways, Jackson out there, he's been looking to get some more consistency out here coming off of his injury, and we're excited to see him.
2-2, fouled back to the screen. McFarland fights one off. And he'll live for another pitch. The Arkansas Razorback digs right back in there. Sporting an average above 400. Actually, no, it's not. It's 378. 2-2 called. Strike 3 on the corner. McFarland goes down for his 3rd strikeout of the game. The 2nd for Bobby Fulkerson out of the bullpen. A 1-2-3 inning for Fulkerson. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left aboard. To the top of the 7th we go. 4-1 Oaks on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Jerry Ramirez regains the hill for his 7th inning of work. And for all things play-by-play, my wonderful broadcasting partner, Jonathan Rifkin.
Thank you, Jordan. Right off the bat, Mitch Kerner, pun intended, grounds one over to third. Lewis over to first for out number 1. Jordan, you did a great job. As always, Jordan and myself will be the voice of the CCL playoffs, so no matter who's in it, whether or not the Oaks are in it, we will be calling the 2 games on Saturday and the championship game on Sunday. 12 o'clock is the first game, 4 o'clock is the second game, and the championship on Sunday is at 12 o'clock as well. Links will be posted next week on the CCO website. Tristan Peterson digs in here and takes a first pitch strike outside corner. He's 1 for 2 today with a single and a ground out. It's been a very interesting ball game. The Oaks had 3 runs in the first, but very quiet since. Curveball, whipped down the third baseline, but out of play. No balls and 2 strikes here to the New Mexico State product. Plays all over the place in the field. DHing today, but 5-tool player normally. No balls, 2 strikes. Ramirez offers. Swing and a miss on the changeup. Strike 3, and Ramirez having a career day so far for the Oaks. He has 6 strikeouts. He's only given up 4 hits, 1 run, and he has no walks. Jerry Ramirez very impressive on the mound today.
Jonathan, he's making our jobs easy because we have no time to say anything say anything smart, give any analysis. Because
we don't say anything smart on the broadcast?
No, we don't have time to today because Jerry Ramirez keeps getting out so quickly.
Chavez, who's 0 for 2, beaks it 1 for 3 now.
Jinxed it.
Yeah, as he grounds one over into the third base side into left field. He's on the board now with his first hit.
Well, I guess I owe the people some analysis right now that we have.
It better be smart, because according to you, we don't say anything smart.
Chavez had a good swing right there.
Oh, great analysis.
Thank you, Jonathan. No, Ramirez just left one up in the zone, and Chavez got a piece and found a hole.
5 runs only resulting in 5 runs only resulting, I keep saying that, 5 hits. I guess we aren't very smart here on the broadcast. 5 hits resulting in only 1 run for the Saints. There we go. The tongue twister is out as Dalton Ney steps in and takes a first pitch strike. The Oaks have 6 hits resulting in 4 runs. Yes, that is correct. I promise. Oy vey. Runner on first, 2 away. The 0-1 offering. Bounces in the dirt. Vitt blocks. Chavez goes. He's very fast, and Vitt knows it. And on the wild pitch, the Saints have a runner in scoring position.
Bryce Vitt almost threw out a runner at second base on an identical play in the dirt. That time, Chavez was too fast, but Bryce Vitt so athletic behind the plate.
Ney from Lee University in Tennessee takes another one in the dirt, gets behind Vitt, and Chavez over to third. A pair of wild pitches back-to-back allows the Saints' speedy second baseman to go from first to third.
And Jonathan, that's my second jinx of the inning. I better shut up for a little bit.
The broadcaster jinx is a real thing. We've learned it Game in and game out, but Daltonay, 2-1 count. He's worked his way into a favorable hitter's count. We'll see here how Ramirez responds after burying 2 pitches in the dirt. The 2-1 in. High fastball, swung on and foul. Tipped back into the glove of Vitt for strike 2. 2s across the board now. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs in a 4-1 ball game. Hope everybody's enjoying their Thursday evening. I know some of you folks are watching elsewhere, and you know it's getting late. The 2-2, a curveball swung on and missed, strike 3. 7 now in the game. And Chavez is stranded at third. No runs hit, no errors. 1 left on base. And for those who are watching elsewhere, no matter how you're watching or where you're watching, we very much appreciate you making Oaks baseball against the Saints a part of your Thursday evening plans. 4-1 remains the score. We're headed to the bottom of the 7th. It's time to stretch, get up, and do something enjoyable. And we'll get you back here for the final potential 2.5 innings of the ball game. You're watching Oaks baseball on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Four, 5, and 6 hitters due up here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the stretch. Oaks up 4-1. New pitcher on the mound is Jesse Reed from Temple College in Texas. He relieves for Bobby Fulkerson, who went 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, and 1 strikeout. Productive 2 innings for Mr. Fulkerson.
4, 5, and 6.
Now it's Jesse Reed's turn, though. The sophomore from Temple College toes the rubber. Cockrell 1 for 3 today. The first pitch, low and away for ball 1. He made 9 starts this past season with Temple. Appeared in 24 games, 71 innings pitched, and a 3.3 ERA. He is from Austin, Texas, and probably has his own opinion on one of the world's most prevalent questions, the 1-0 pitch. Slapped over to short, over the head of Armenta on a bad hop, and Cockrell is on base for a second time today. And what I was alluding to was something that we've been asking players from all around the country is, what do you like better, In-N-Out Burger or Whataburger? Whataburger, the burger giants in the South, based in Texas, but they're all over the place. And, of course, In-N-Out, the burger joint on the West Coast. They have a couple in Texas, but they're not as good. And so I'm curious to know what Mr. Reed has to say on the subject. But nonetheless, Chase Cockrell, who actually likes Whataburger better than In-N-Out, is over on first base. Sam Shakin digging in now. He's 1 for 3. He does have a double in the 5th. First pitch, low for ball 1. I am the only Southern Californian I know who likes Whataburger more than In-N-Out, I think. I've never met anybody else. Give us your thoughts, if you've had both, on our YouTube chat. I'm always happy to hear what our viewers have to say. The 1-0 bounces in the dirt for ball 2. Mitch Kerner getting his glove very dirty.
Time for Shake to see a pitch elevated and knock it the opposite way.
Takes one up and in for ball 3. Jesse Reed has 16 innings under his belt this season, 3.94 ERA. 6 walks, and only 5 strikeouts. Good contact pitcher. He's third on the team in earned run average. Cockrell takes a wide lead. The 3-0 pitch misses low for ball 4, and Shaken takes a 4-pitch walk. Runners on first and second, nobody out. The 5th walk drawn by the Oaks today, the first by Jesse Reed given up. I'll bring up Bart West now. He's 0 for 1 today, 1 strikeout. He does have a sac fly for an RBI back in the 5th, and a walk in the 1st. Only 1 week of CCL baseball left before the playoffs. Pretty crazy how quickly this season's gone by. I was talking to Commissioner Pat Burns about it last night at the All-Star game. He's been doing this for over a decade, and he said this has been the quickest season at least he's ever experienced. Maybe he says that every year, I don't know, but in my 3 years associated with this team, I've never experienced a season this quickly as Bart West loops one foul for strike 1. But back on July 19th, 1909, the Red Sox were playing Cleveland, and Neil Ball had the first ever recorded unassisted triple play. Heine Wagner was on second, Jake Stahl was on first, and Amby McConnell was the hitter. The 0-1 pitch bounces in the dirt. West takes it for ball 1. The infielder stepped back towards second, got the force out, and then he tagged Stahl. Wagner was the forced out. He chased down Stahl back to first. After catching the line out, as I mentioned, this was the first officially recognized unassisted triple play as that ball misses inside for ball 2 in baseball history. And then in the bottom of the second inning of that game, Neil Ball actually had a home run. It was the first of his major league career, and he hit only 4 home runs in 1,609 at-bats. How crazy. 109 years ago, the first ever recorded unassisted triple play. When was the last time there was an unassisted triple play in Major League Baseball?
I can't even tell you. Probably see one of those a day at Little League, though. And talk about a day you tell your grandchildren about. One of 4 home runs in your career, an unassisted triple play as well. That is simply remarkable.
After a meeting on the mound between Kerner and Reed, we're back to baseball. West takes a 2-1 fastball low and inside for ball 3. Shaken took a 4-pitch walk. Cockrell singled, and West is ahead in the count, 3 balls and a strike. The USC Trojan digs back in. Reed deals. 3-1, 2-hopper over to third. The pick low is no good by Briggs, and every runner will be safe on the E5. Bases all juiced now, nobody out, and Michael Spears stepping in. First error of the day here on either side. On Tuesday, when these two teams played in the Oaks 7-5 win, there was a total of 10 combined errors, 5 for the Oaks and 5 for the Saints. So far today, a more cleanly fielded game.
That's such a significant error by Briggs at third base. If he fields that cleanly, there are 2 outs in the inning because that's a tailor-made double play ball.
Spears has reached base all 3 times he's been up as he takes a fastball in the inside corner for strike 1. He's 1 for 1 with an RBI single. He's walked, and he was hit by a pitch. He has 2 stolen bases, and he's yet to score. He has a cycle in terms of on base. He stranded on base in the first, stranded on second base in the third, and stranded on third base in the 5th. Takes that pitch low for ball 1. If he ends up scoring, he could have a cycle in base running.
That's interesting.
Would have reached base, a different base each inning that he's been up. 1-1 pitch bounces in the dirt for ball 2 here to Michael Spears. He batted 124 this past season in 24 games with Ole Miss. Looking for consistent playing time this upcoming season with a very hot baseball squad. Of course, Chase Cockrell over in left field, his teammate. 2-1. Foul tipped back and out of play to even the count. I guess Chase Cockrell's at third base, but he's normally in left field. He's currently standing on the third base bag after singling to begin the 7th for the Oaks. Give you a Blues game update. 3-0 still the score into the 4th inning over the Foresters. Foresters have been held to 1 hit. 2-2. Spears thought about going around, held back, pitches way outside. Now he has a full count. Cameron Warren is the lone hit for the Foresters, and the Blues got off to a hot start, went right at Bryce Elder, who's still on the mound. But the Blues, currently on a 7-game CCL winning streak, they were holding up the bottom of the pack 2 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden have exploded. Payoff pitch, misses low, ball 4. And Michael Spears gets an RBI, and he walks in his fellow Ole Miss Rebel, Chase Cockrell. The Oaks take a 5-1 lead.
Reed really struggling to find the zoning. You're going to see a pitching change here as the manager comes out to talk with Reed and tell him his day is done.
Shaken to third, West to second, Spears to first, and back to the bench goes Jesse Reed. Give you who the new pitcher is here in a moment. Reed, though, did not record an out, so he goes 0 innings in the book, gives up 1 hit, 1 run, 2 walks, and no strikeouts. 5-1 the score, the base is juiced, and Andrew Lucas, who already has a grand slam this season, will step in here after the break on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Five-1 remains the score. The new pitcher is Brian McConnell, one of 2 Saints pitchers in the prospect game yesterday. Jesse Reed, as I mentioned, no outs recorded. He did give up a run, and every runner on base, all 3 of them could be recorded to him should any of them cross the plate. Brian McConnell is undecided where he will go in the fall, but he did play 3 years varsity at Monrovia High School in Pasadena, California. He was a 2015 Pasadena Star News Player of the Year. In 48 career games played, he had a 1.28 career ERA. He pitched on Tuesday against this team and had 3 strikeouts in 2 innings, gave no hits and no runs. Andrew Lucas, who's searching for his first hit, digs in. The sidearmer deals a strike at the knees. Lucas is 2 strikeout looking, and he reached on a fielder's choice that got Sam shaken out on a 6-2-3 pickle. Now Lucas has an opportunity to make amends with the bases all loaded and nobody out. Infield is in. The Oaks are not like the Navy football team. They don't really have anything up their sleeve, so they'll probably just hit away. McConnell toes the rubber, takes a breath, and deals the 0-1, and it belts the left hip of Lucas. He'll stride over to first, and another run will come in. That's an RBI hit by a pitch. Not something you see very often. gives the Oaks a 6-1 lead, and that run is earned to Jesse Reed, his second earned run, with 2 more potential earned runs still on base. And how about this, Bailey Holbrook stepping in here. We always love to see Bailey step in because he always makes some noise in the batter's box. He comes in place of Bryce Vitt. Vitt ends his day 0 for 2 with the strikeout, a groundout. He did walk, though, in the 4th inning.
Good chance for Bailey to add to that RBI total. He's been hitting the ball much harder recently.
Batting 118 so far. He does have a home run, 2 walks, 12 strikeouts. 2 years at Union University in Texas as he takes a pitch outside for ball 1. After a few games this past season in fall, he decided to leave Union, enrolled at Moore Park, but never played baseball there. He's still 2 years of eligibility, but no more junior college eligibility. He's searching for a home in the fall, but the prospects of him getting something good are very high. The 1-0 misses outside for ball 2 to the slugger. He's a switch hitter, though, a natural switch hitter. He taught himself how to bat from the left side back in high school.
Just imagine that, Jonathan. I couldn't even teach myself to read in high school.
That's why you paid good money to be taught how to read.
Yeah, I'm a quick learner.
Obviously not if it took you until high school to learn how to read.
Well, I only started trying to learn to read in high school.
We're going to move on from this
Elementary school was...
Yeah, what'd you do?
I just sat there.
I hope your family's watching this, and I would love to know what their reaction is to this conversation. Nonetheless, though, after conversation, Pecan was dealing the 2-0, outside ball 3, and after a hit-by pitch, he's pitching all 3 fastballs outside the zone, and Holbrook has found himself ahead 3 balls and no strikes. Bailey, also a pitcher. In high school, he threw 94. Now in the low 90s when he throws. Hasn't pitched consistently for a couple of years. 3-0 offering. Outside ball 4, another walk, puts in another run. Bailey Holbrook gets an RBI walk. 3 consecutive walks for the Oaks. I guess 2 walks in between them, a hit by a pitch. And that is another run. West will come in. Over to third goes Spears to second Lucas. And Holcomb to first base. Oaks lead 7-1.
Patient at bat for Holbrook right there. You come off the bench, you want to swing the bat, do some damage, but Holbrook did what was best for the team and took the walk.
Tanner Wright, who's 1 for 3, steps in the first pitch. Misses low and outside for ball 1. This has been a rough outing for McConnell, who leads the team in ERA at a sub-2, 1.79. He's already given up 2 runs so far. He's given them up, but they've been accredited to Jesse Reed. Nonetheless, you don't like that if you're a pitcher. Deals 1 outside for ball 2. He's thrown 1 strike in the first 3 batters he's faced. That's 11 pitches so far. 7 runs, 7 hits for the Oaks. 1 run, 5 hits, and an error for the Saints. The Oaks have yet to hit out in this inning. Nobody away, and this is the 6th batter. Here comes the 2-0. Actually, the 7th batter. Over to third on the hop. Briggs over to home for 1. The relay to first. In time. Well done. 5-2-3. Double play. Negates a run. Tanner Wright out at first. Holbrook to second. And Michael Spears to third. 2 outs. And that was actually very well done. Most third basemen don't think about that guy at home. They normally go to second and then the first. But way to save a run there by a heads-up play by Cameron Briggs.
Yeah, very heads-up play by Briggs, who had the error earlier in the inning, but saves the run right there.
2 away now for Brandon Lewis, and I think the Saints are taking a sigh of relief because that base has been loaded with only 1 out or no outs. Brandon Lewis could have done something. He still could do damage, but I guess the damage would be minimal. He takes a pitch up and in for ball 1. If you could even use that as a term to describe Brandon Lewis's bat, the damage he does is far from minimal, but as far as what could have happened, at least the situation is a little bit less intense for the Saints pitching staff. Connell offers the 1-0. Popped sky high, but backwards out of play. Evens the count here. Lewis on the day. 1 for 4. 2 flyouts to center. He struck out but reached base on the wild pitch in the second and singled and came around to score back in the first. The front runner for CCL MVP, that'll be awarded next week in the playoffs game. Of course, Jordan and I will be live for that. So even if the Oaks don't make it, we'll make sure that that is streamed, the award ceremony, regardless of who it is. But Brandon Lewis, as I mentioned, the front runner. Second and third, 2 outs, the 1-1 high to left field. Nay going back, and it has a lot of carry, but not enough as he makes the catch for out number 3. A long inning, but only 1 hit recorded, 3 runs, 1 error, and a pair stranded in scoring position. Top of the 8th after this, the Oaks up 7-1 on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. Top of the 8th, 7-1, the Oaks lead the Saints. Jacob Jenkins in the 9 spot, who's 1 for 2 today, will kick things off. New pitcher on the mound is John Vergara from Glendale City College. New college, UC Irvine in the fall. Relieves for Jerry Ramirez, the first pitch, up and in for ball 1. Ramirez went 7 strong innings, only 5 hits, 1 run, no walks, and 7 strikeouts. Have a game, Mr. Ramirez. John Vergara was in the prospect game yesterday. He didn't pitch, but he got to showcase his skills, and well-deservedly deals a fastball swung on and missed for strike 1. 13th appearance, he's 1-1. He's 2 for 2 in saves, though. 3.68 ERA, 20 strikeouts, and only 8 walks. The lefty toes the rubber, deals the 1-1, swing and a miss, strike 2. A lot of movement on that fastball, has Jacob Jenkins behind in the count. Jenkins goes to Mid-America Nazarene University out in, we'll try to get this correct, Olathe, Kansas, and we looked it up, so I think that's how it's pronounced. See, foul tips went back to stay alive here. And another former Oak who actually went there was Jacob Sylvester. He was on the Oaks last season and 2 seasons ago. And he has an interesting story. He started off at Iowa Western Community College. He won 2 JC championships there. And he wanted to get out of the Midwest, the 1-2 offering. Basically a bunt down to third base. Lewis charging, and he can't make a play. That was A very interesting play, but Jenkins will take it. He's 2 for 3 today, and a very soft infield single at that.
Jonathan, I think that ball bounced in the dirt before hitting Jenkins's bat.
So he almost golf swung it, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? Whatever, get the job done. And now Cameron Briggs will step in. He's 0 for 3 in the number 1 spot. But going back to Jacob Sylvester, he really wanted to get out of the Midwest. So he's from St. Louis, Missouri, never been to the West Coast. He ended up signing with CSUN out of Iowa Western and played for the Oaks. Didn't really like CSUN very much. He had a sub-4 ERA for the Oaks last season as that pitch. This is inside for ball 1 to Briggs. But he was really big. I mean, I'm talking about 6'6", 270 pounds, only 12% body fat. I mean, he was a very strong, muscular human being as the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 1. And he didn't want to pitch anymore, Jacob Sylvester, that is. And University of Iowa offered him an opportunity to be an assistant strength and conditioning coach with their football team. And he decided after his Oak season last year that he would quit baseball and transfer to the University of Iowa. But ironically, as the 1-1 pitch misses upstairs for ball 2, he decided to go back and play baseball, and none of us knew this. Our head coach, Dave Solis, who normally keeps in touch with many former Oaks, didn't know this. We didn't know this. And after about a month at Iowa, he transferred to Mid-American Nazarene University, where the man standing on first base, Jacob Jenkins, goes. And he had such a good year that he didn't get drafted, but 3 days ago, KC signed him. Pitches low, the throw as the runner goes is past Tanner right into center field. That would be a stolen base, and then over on the air to third, Jacob Jenkins goes. And the Saints have a runner in scoring position at third base with nobody away. That's an error by the new catcher, Zach Kamenko, who came in place of Bryce Vitt. First Oaks error of the day. But, yeah, Jacob Sylvester had such a great season this past year at Mid-America that Kansas City signed him, and he's playing in the minors now. Another former Oak. 3-1. Sky to right center field. That should be far enough as Spears is under it. Jenkins has some speed. He's going to test the arm. Spears won't even try. And look at that. 7-2 on the sacrifice flyout. Jacob Jenkins manufacturing some runs. Saints trying to stay with the Oaks, though. It's quite a tall task, still down by 5.
Yeah, that big inning in the bottom of the 7th inning for the Oaks. Looking so big right now, getting those insurance runs, giving the relievers some breathing room. So even though Briggs drove in Jenkins, the Oaks still on top comfortably.
2 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error for the Saints. 7 runs, 7 hits, and 1 error for the Oaks. And now there's about to be a call.
Hold on, Jonathan.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're saying that Jenkins
left early
and the run doesn't count.
That was a heads-up play by Tanner Wright. That technically would be a double play. Now, the board still says 7-2, but they called him out.
Because there are 2 outs on the board.
Right, and they're negating the run, and now they're putting a second out up there. That's really interesting. The entire Oaks dugout was applauding, and everybody was confused. I was confused why, and after the explanation from the third base umpire, the ruling is going to stand. Jacob Jenkins left early, and that's a fly out to center. And then what will eventually be ruled a 8-4-5 putout for the double play. That is very unusual and just a mental mistake by Jenkins at third.
It's one way to get 2 outs for Vergara. Now finish out the scoreless inning.
Cooper Williams steps in. He's 0 for 3 in the 3 spot. Takes a fastball outside for ball 1. So I guess it's now 1 run on 6 hits, 1 error for the Saints. The Oaks line stays the same, 7-7-1 in those same categories. And that was quite an unusual play, but heads-up baseball by the Oaks defense. Here comes the 1-0 from Vergara. A strike at the belt to even the count. Cooper Williams from New Mexico State. They were in a regional this past year. Their first ever regional. Forgot where they played, but I know they were in a regional. I think they might have been in the Fullerton regional. 1-1. Curveball up the knees for strike 2. Vergara doesn't pitch very fast. His fastball is in the mid-80s, but his movement on his fastball and that break on the curveball just so hard for hitters to pick up on.
It's the command and when he elevates the fastball, it can explode up to 88.
Elevated that fastball, but it's whipped right back to the screen. Cooper Williams able to get a handle on it. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, and Vergara, he has the frame to continue gaining, to continue to add velocity to his fastball. That's why he was one of the best prospects in the CCL.
1-2 pitch, curveball swung on and missed. Williams goes down swing for strike number 3. First strikeout on the day for Vergara. And the top of the 8th is over. No runs on 1 hit, 1 error, and nobody left on base. Bottom of the 8th coming up here. 3, 4, and 5 hitters do up for the Oaks when we come back on the Oaks Baseball Broadcasting Network. 7-1 the score.
First baseman number 37.
Luke Laflamme takes the place of Brian McConnell here in the bottom of the 8th inning. McConnell went 1 inning, 1 walk, no runs to his credit, but a couple came around under his reign on the on the mound. No strikeouts as well. Luke Laflamme comes in today with the highest ERA on the team at 13.5 in 4 innings pitched. We saw him on Tuesday, and he gave up 2 runs for the Oaks in only an inning and a third. First pitch to McFarland is taken at the knees for strike 1. Last few outs here in the ball game, assuming the score stays the same. It was almost cut to 5, but a mental mistake had that run negated as McFarland takes a pitch in the dirt. McFarland on the day is 1 for 4. Hit the hat trick, 3 straight strikeouts after singling in a run back in the first inning. Uncharacteristic on his offensive side of things. He'll look to make amends here. Laflamme trying to negate that. The 1-1. High skyer to left center field. On the move is Jenkins, and he'll have plenty of room to make the catch at the warning track for out number 1.
Very good swing from McFarland there. In a 7-1 ball game, you don't really care about the hits too much. But you do care about the swings, and that was a great one for Jordan.
Luke Laflamme's headed to Arizona State in the fall. He just graduated from Grandview High School this past year with Grandview, which is in Aurora, Colorado. In 19 games, he had a 2.95 ERA. That's what 18 runs and 24 RBIs and a .362 batting average. Chase Cockrell digs in here. Checks his swing. They said he went around on a pitch in the dirt for strike 1. Cockrell on the day, 2 for 4, a pair of singles, 2 runs scored, a strikeout and a ground out. But the progression for Luke Laflamme at Grandview was significant. In 2017, he had a 4.12 ERA. Again, that one down to 2.95 his senior year. Cockrell takes a fastball in the outside corner. No balls and 2 strikes to him. He had 286 batting average his junior year. That also went up to 362. He has yet to take the plate as a batter for the Saints this season. The 0-2 offering. Smash to left field. Nay on the move. Has some ground to cover, but he makes the catch for out number 2. The Oaks with 2 very loud outs here in the 8th inning, and LaFlamme 1 out away from producing the second 1-2-3 inning of the game on the Oaks side of things.
Cockrell was about a millisecond away from hitting that to Orange County or something. Definitely over the wall, that's for sure.
Wait. Earlier I said Brandon Lewis could hit one to Century City.
Orange County's that way.
It's the same direction. You take the 405 the same way.
No. Oh, you're right. I'm way wrong. Never mind.
Speaking of Sam Shaken, very hard hit foul ball out of play for strike 1.
I meant to say Oxnard, not Ventura. Or what
you didn't say Ventura. You said Orange County.
I'm all over the place right now.
I think you need to get your Southern California geography down. Sam Shaken facing an 0-1 count. He's 1 for 3 today, a double, strikeout, and a pop out. He did walk in the 7th that came around to score the second run of that 7th inning. I'll get you a geography textbook, Jordan.
I'd love it.
That'll be my gift to you after a great season as co-broadcasters.
And I will never spend a moment not looking at it.
That pitch upstairs, 1-1 here to Shaken. That's funny. I've given a book as gifts before to people, and I don't think they've ever left the wrapping, so maybe I'll rethink my gift-giving ideas. I gave my girlfriend Stocks for Dummies one time because she was looking to invest. I don't think that ever panned out. 1-1 here from LaFlamme. Curveball fouled back for strike 2. Right now, the Oaks writing the book of how to play baseball effectively. Up 7-1 on route to their 3rd straight CCL win, going back to Sunday against the Orange County Riptide, assuming that the score stays the same. But still plenty of work to be done. Only a half game up over the Saints. Of course, the CCL standings are incorrect. And this Blues up 4-0 as a swing and a miss for strike 3 to Shaken ends the 8th inning. But to quickly tell you, the Blues up 4-0 over the Santa Barbara Foresters. If the Blues win and the Oaks win, the Oaks will still only be a half a game up on the Blues. And these 2 teams play tomorrow night. That's how important tomorrow's game will be. Nonetheless, though, LaFlamme does what he's asked to do. 1-2-3 inning for the Oaks puts us through 8. The Oaks up 7-1. One more half inning, 3 outs away. John Vigaro will look to retire and end this game for the Saints. We'll be right back. John Vigaro out there for his 2nd inning of work, looking to finish things out here, but it won't be easy. Cooper Williams will step in here. Try to do something of sorts. Keep this Saints team in this game. The first pitch on the lefty-on-lefty matchup is cracked to right field, but Spears is right there, gliding to his left for out number 1. 1 pitch, 1 away here in the top of the 9th inning.
Now batting number 18, Brennan McKenzie.
Now bring up Brendan McKenzie now in the cleanup spot. He's 1 for 3 today. He has the lone run scored for the Saints today. That was in the 4th inning, but in the 2nd he struck out. In the 6th he struck out. Need to find a way on base here. Saints almost kept pace with the Oaks hitting-wise. They have 6 to the Oaks 7, but what matters is the runs, and the Oaks have 7 of those. First pitch is a fastball low. Ball 1 here to the Cal Poly Pomona product. Plays his collegiate baseball with Oaks pitcher Dylan Francis. Pomona Mustang digs back in here. Vergara on the mound offers the 1-0. Skied to center field. Lucas on the run out there. And he makes the catch for out number 2. 2 flyouts on 3 pitches, puts 2 outs up on the board. And now Mitch Kerner is the last hope here for the Saints. He has an RBI single today, but he has 2 groundouts a third as well. We'll see here how Vergara plays him and how Kerner tries to keep his confidence and composure in the batter's box.
All John's got to do is continue to throw strikes. His defense has been behind him the whole day.
First pitch bounces in the dirt. Kamiko couldn't back pick it for ball 1. Only 4 runners left on base for the Saints. They have not drawn a walk all game, nor have they been hit by a pitch. That is a rough stat because they have been unable, to manufacture base runners. As a foul ball brings the count to 1 ball and 1 strike here to Kerner. That perhaps is the difference in the game. The Oaks have drawn 7 walks on their side. None for the Saints. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 away, top 9. The offering. Curveball missing just a little bit up and in for ball 2. John Vergara always very composed on the mound. Yesterday they were shooting promos before the game for Fox Sports West where the game was broadcasted, and he was really funny. He had trouble keeping the smile off his face. That pitch upstairs for ball 3. They had a guy coming around with a GoPro type camera, and there was a bunch of different pitchers. They were all, doing their normal antics. However, whenever you see promos on Fox Sports or whatever the other sporting television programs, they always have, those pitchers with stone cold faces as the 3-1 pitch finds the outside corner for ball 2, or strike 2, And Vergara, they had to take a couple of takes because Vergara kept smiling in the photo. It was really funny, but he's just such a wonderful human being. Kerner calls time, a big spot here. 3-2 count, 2 outs, top of the 9th inning. And this game all but over now as Vergara toes the rubber and takes the sign from Kamiko, calmly gloves the ball up to his shoulder. He rocks and fires the payoff pitch. Swanand missed strike 3, and this ball game is over. 1-2-3 inning in the top of the 9th, and the Oaks edge it 7-1. The final line: 7 runs, 7 hits, 1 error, and 9 left on base for the Oaks. 1 run on 6 hits, 1 error, and 4 left on base for the Saints. The losing pitcher is Charles Peacock. He's 0 for 3 on the season. The Oaks winning pitcher is Jerry Ramirez. He's 2-1 on the season. Let's talk about Jerry here. He was the Oaks player of the game. I'll be on the field with him in about 5 minutes for our Oaks post-game interview, but he really anchored this entire game. He kept the confidence high on the mound, which therefore, or the effect of that was the offense going off, and they only had to exhaust 2 arms in this game. That's pretty incredible, especially with a long road trip coming up.
Jerry Ramirez with his best start of the season, no doubt about it. By far his best. He was so good out on the mound, striking out hitters, getting soft contact the whole day, and also going 7 innings, which is a season high for Jerry. So big for this team today. And also, as you mentioned, Jonathan, going forward, they're going to need a lot of arms this weekend up in San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara. But a good start to a tough stretch of games for the Oaks. They took care of business when they had to today.
Some stats for you. First, for the Saints, Jacob Jenkins had the most productive day. He was the only Saints batter to reach base twice in the ballgame. He went 2 for 3 with 2 singles, though a mental mistake had him tagging too early from third base. Gabe Chavez went 1 for 3. Tristan Peterson went 1 for 3. Brendan McKenzie went 1 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. And at the top of the order, Cameron Briggs went 0 for 3, with an RBI sac fly. On the Oaks side, Brandon Lewis had a hit in 5 tries. Jordan McFarland had a hit in 5 tries. Chase Cockrell had 2 hits. He went 2 for 5. Sam Shakin went 1 for 4. And Andrew Lucas went 0 for 3, but he was hit by a pitch in the 7th inning. Well, we're going to leave it there. I'll be on the field on Periscope and on Twitter in about 5 minutes with our Oaks player of the game and pitcher of the game, Jerry Ramirez. The Oaks have a game tomorrow, 6 o'clock, West Coast time, up in San Luis Obispo. We're very excited for that one. As of right now, the Oaks maintain a full game lead on the Slow Blues, but the Blues up 4-0 over the Foresters. That is a huge game. We'll see what happens. They're in the top of the 6th inning. The Foresters, though, could be losing by more. The Blues have runners at the corners with nobody out. Keep update on that game because that is a huge game for the Oaks and the Blues. But we hope to see you tomorrow. But until then, for everybody who made our broadcast possible, from our folks down in the press box to our wonderful producer Sean McKinnon and my broadcasting partner Jordan Brenner, my name is Jonathan Rifkin signing off. We'll see you tomorrow night for a fun one and what could decide the playoffs for the Oaks and the Blues at 6 o'clock. Once again, the Oaks win here at Sparky Anderson 7-1. Please enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening.